Hello YouTube, it's Borders Dude and I am back with a video review, and today I'm taking a look at some third party for a change. This is from the relatively new third party company ModFans, and this is their take on Masterpiece Roller, which they are calling AL-01 Ruller. Is this a good figure for a first outing for this company? Is this a figure you should have in your collection? Well, let's take a look at this review and find out. Before we look at the figure itself, let's take a very brief look at the box. The box is very plain. I'm not a big fan of that blue and brown combination. The logo is pretty cool, however, but that colour scheme just does come off a bit boring to me. What I do like about the box is the line drawing of the figure there, and also the enlarged version with the slightly faded look behind him, which is a neat touch. Quick switch around to the back of the box and you see the alt mode, again with that same box art of the robot in the background there. Really cool. Love the look of the art on the box, but the colour scheme of blue and brown just doesn't work for me. Let's take a look at Roller in his alt mode. It's a really nice representation of the original looking Roller, done in the dark navy blue colour scheme. There is a silver version of this available if that is your preferred choice of Roller, but for me it will always be this colour scheme. I love the sculpted detail you're seeing there on the grid. You've got the sculpted detail in the seats as well as on the top of the bonnet, I suppose, of the alt mode. The lights are painted there in a nice yellow and a white offset, and we've got some clear plastic in the red there and on his little alarm light. It's a shame that didn't light up. They missed a trick there, but that would have bumped up the cost in production, I assume. The wheels are done really well. I like the silver hubcaps with the red trim, and the black is a very nice looking black. Makes the tyre design pop quite nicely. The one thing I dislike about the alt mode is these don't secure anywhere, they just sit loose, and as you might have seen very briefly in the video, one of the back wheels was sticking up. That's a shame there that that's missed. Now they do hold with friction, but they're easily knocked out of place. And at the back there's not much going on there, although you do have the silver whitish, I guess, exhaust pipes. But overall they have done a really good job on this alt mode for Roller, and yes, as you would expect a Roller to do, he does indeed roll. Let's take a look at Roller's robot mode. Now the transformation from alt mode to robot mode is a fairly simple and fun transformation. There's only really one fiddly bit, and that is just getting his fists out of the wee storage flap there. Not the end of the world, certainly, to get that resolved. You can use the weapon in his fists to pull out the fist, I guess, out the hand. But other than that, you know, it's a very fun and intuitive transformation. It's not overly panelly, although the bot mode itself you might think it is slightly panelly, just looking at it on that basis, but no. Very little panel movement involved. Most of it, to be honest, is in the shoulders there. But once you get them transformed, you get this wonderful robot mode, and the one thing about this robot mode that sticks out to me the most is that fantastic head sculpt. It is very much looking like Transformers Protectobot Defensor. I guess you could sort of argue it's a very generic head sculpt, but to me that's a really nice touch in what they've done. And considering the fact that Roller didn't really have a robot mode, I guess, until more recent times with the comics, they've took a bit of creative liberty and gave us a very nice looking head sculpt. Loads of detail going on in the arms, as you can see. Lovely red stripe on the shoulders. We've got some little blue highlights on his chest and a nice silver piece there. Little two yellow dots. I suppose that's reminiscent of Optimus Prime's crotchal area, which makes sense given he's a part of Optimus Prime. But other than that, in terms of paint, you've not got much going on. You've got the black there from the alt mode, which does highlight some key points on the figure and what paint they've used and the limited capacity they have. They've done very well. Now, when it comes to articulation, this figure does have a lot. A lot of people did lament the fact that the fingers don't close in, but you can forgive it given a figure of this size and this budget, but you get so much more articulation than you would expect. The shoulders, of course, are on a ball joint, so we'll do a full 360. You do get a bicep cut, a double bend at the elbow. You get some wrist swivel action, and because of just how the transformation works, you can get a bit of wrist movement there as well, if you so wish. The chest is on almost an ankle rocker, and you do get a bit of ab crunch, which is very good. Head, of course, can do a full 360, being on a ball joint. The legs, if you move the hip skirts out the way, will give you the full motion. You get a lovely ratchet bend at the knee. There is some toe articulation. Again, a lot of that is partly due to transformation, but it gives you a lot. There isn't a thigh cut at all on this figure, but you do get the upper thigh twist, and that bend gives you a lot of posability options. So when it comes to the articulation, it is very much there and great for your figure photography needs. Now, time for a couple of scale comparisons. For his robot mode, we'll take Mastermind Creations Streetwise and give you an idea of how he scales with that. Now, Mastermind Creations isn't necessarily what you call masterpiece scale. It is more a sort of in line with Chug scale, at least when it comes to the combined modes, but it still gives you an idea nonetheless. Now, if we take Streetwise out the way, and I will pop in a Masterpiece Optimus Prime. Now, the only one I do have is the Toys R Us exclusive MP10. Now let's move the camera out. I don't think it scales very well with MP10. I think it would definitely scale more with the up-to-date Optimus Prime MP mold, and I suppose that's what the scale for Ruller is going for, is to match that scale, although the figure itself does definitely fit more in line with the Mastermind Creations scale, I believe. Time to take a look at the accessories you get with Roller. Now, you get two guns done in a nice matte black, well, shiny black finish. It's always hard to get black guns to pick up on camera, or black plastic even, but you can see they're nicely detailed. This is almost like a little chain gun with the cartridge added there, and we get another blaster that is reminiscent of many G1 characters, all nicely sculpted in that black finish. And I do like the way the light does hit off the plastic, but it does make it hard to film. You also get this little pipe that is quite flexible, and that plugs in to the back of the gun, like so. Now, this is mainly used to simulate his petrol station recharge station in Optimus Prime's base mode, and you're supposed to be able to, I believe, just have it plug into the back here, but there's nowhere for it to stay secure. But you can obviously muck around with that when you're doing your figure photography if you want to include the black tubing, but I prefer to have it off. My final thoughts on ModFans Ruller. This is a surprise hit of the year, and the rumour is the ModFans company is run by Badcube and a few other people, which does make sense looking at how this figure is designed. The build quality is excellent. The transformation from alt mode to robot mode is nice and simple, won't stretch out, easy to flip back and forth, nothing overly fiddly at all, which is great for me. The alt mode captures the Roller alt mode fantastically. The only issue that I have is the fact that the little silver bits there, or grey bits, don't plug in anywhere, they just sit on pure friction. Not the end of the world and won't really affect how the figure displays if you display them in alt mode or take any figure photography, but a slight annoyance, I would certainly say, in the alt mode. Robot mode, however, is definitely the star of the show. That head sculpt, very Protectobots Defensor-esque. I do like it, although you can say it's a very generic head sculpt. I think it does wonders and makes sense for a figure that doesn't really have much of a personality. The sculpting on it is great, the articulation is plentiful for a figure this size and this scale, and those knee ratchets are just a wonder to listen to when you bend them back and forth. Definitely a figure I do recommend, and if you're an Optimus Prime fan and you want a roller, you can't go wrong with this figure. And you can pick this figure up at Primetime Toys. Now you can use the code POWERUP10 to get 10% off your first order. Now the guys do not sponsor me in any way. I bought this figure off them at TFN, and this figure was such a wonderful surprise for me. I didn't expect much from it, but I've been blown away by it. And the fact you can get this figure from the guys at Primetime Toys in the UK and get it at a reasonable price it's worth picking up. I can't recommend it anymore. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you again soon with another review.